Man, this comic book sucks. And the reviews online said it was good. I wasted my money. Why didn't somebody tell me? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Spinner Rack, and we're doing a review of Batman Damned. I don't know what the hell to say, but I've got Petey and I got Cal.
He didn't do it.
You already said it. Damn.
He didn't say past tense. He said just like you said it like you're watching something on television you weren't supposed to. You were like, Batman, damn.
It is
You
like
did
that.
the damn with the D-A-Y-U-M.
It is damned. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I'm trying to say?
Damned. Batman, damned.
Damn that damned. That's all I gotta say. Look, gentlemen, is this for real? Do we need another Batman comic? This dark, this gritty? I don't know what to say.
No, it's gritty. It's not, I mean, it's the actual comic itself is dark as far as the placement. As far as the grit is just on the actual drawings.
Right, but it's not the standard comic. It's a larger than the standard comic, right? It's bigger. It's like
magazine size.
It's magazine size. You know, the art.
Well,
I gotta say,
to cover for moments in the movie, they needed to be larger size to cover what they're showing in the.
You know, you get the book basically deals with Batman.
Come on, you gotta have some fun here. This is a fun thing. You're sitting around there like, it's gonna be so many puns in this one because you've already heard the stories.
That's right.
And he's trying to go away from where the stories are.
I heard Lil Wayne was going to drop. I just didn't know it was going to be in Batman Damned.
Oh! Okay, so the artwork actually is pretty scrumptious. It's pretty cool, right?
Lee Bermejo,
who has done Superman.
which we interviewed him.
And we have him interviewed in one of our.
He also did Batman the Chalice, if I recall correctly. Was it the Chalice? Don't quote me on that
in
one.
his
He did
artwork
Joker. Was it
is
was a Joker?
amazing. Okay, the detail in the artwork is amazing. My problem with this comic is
The nudity.
No, Batman Noel. He did Batman Noel.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
the I guess the lyricism, the poetic, and the poet.
What are you talking about?
He's talking about the writing, yeah, like the.
writing,
He's talking about the caption
the-
writing,
you
which
have-
is sort of
Nobody
like.
cares about that. This book
No,
is
no,
selling,
wait, let
this
him
book is
finish
selling
it. Let him
30,
finish that
40,
part.
$50
Let him
a
finish
pop
that
for
point.
one reason and one reason only.
Finish your point.
Lil
Finish
Wayne.
your point. Finish your point about the writing.
I'm trying to stick to the comic, and you guys are just
No,
bringing
sorry.
this crap down.
Let's
You know
go
what I'm trying
to
to
it.
say?
Give
You
us
know?
the base. Give us the base.
It's just hanging out there.
Give us the base. Just say it.
I don't know if you should be buying this comic. That's all I gotta say.
Just say you don't know if kids could, but there's no kids
this
reading
is an adult
comic books. So
This is an adult comic. I mean, Batman's already a dark creature. A lot of his comics, or especially his one-off comics or special series, are very adult-oriented things, very dark, a lot of death. Here, this comic pushes it even more there. And I think the only thing really, like I said, that really pushes it even more there is the nudity. Let's call it what it is.
All right, so
okay?
Batman
is butt friggin' naked. God damn
okay,
it.
so that said, Batman in the story, Batman
Stark
is
naked.
Batman is injured and is in an ambulance, but they're about to cut his mask off, and he fights. Even though he needs the help, they pull a gun and he breaks out, and next thing you know, he runs into John Constantine, and then the story gets a little weird. So whatever's happened before, Batman isn't in the same place. He's not injured. We don't know the history of the injured. He tried to call Alfred. So we're in a place where Batman is in this weird world where he's running into different characters, mystical characters like Constantine, Deadman is in there. So and then it just leads to a big thing that happens that Batman wouldn't expect it. But this is a different world story, supposedly, right? That's what this thing is? They're not in the continuity?
I can't say 100% because they said the same thing about the Killing Joke, that was supposed to be in Elseworlds, and then it became part of the regular universe. So, hey, let's give it a couple of months, see what happens.
Dark Metal, then we have the Batman Who Laughs and Legion of Doom.
We have Batman Who Laughs not going anywhere right
and that's
now.
that was part of the DC proper. This is part of DC's new line of books, Black Label. Mm-hmm. Okay, you'll see it when you buy it. You'll see it. And literally, they have the embossment Black Label. So this is their.
Is that like Black Kiss, like the Chaikin Black Kiss?
We can say that that the Black Label is erected on this particular set of books right here. So
why do they have the Black Label? Is really the question.
So they
Well,
can
this was
do
the- this
alternate
is-
stories.
They can do alternate
Well,
stories.
you have
They can have
elsewhere.
top. You can have top level talent. Okay, and
Do
say,
whatever
look,
they want.
we just want you to focus on this particular story. You don't have to have this monthly deadline. And they've done it before. This is not
Elsewhere.
unique. They have done stuff like this before. Well, not Elseworld,
This is
but when we had
closer.
Epic Comics were supposed to be okay. You can tell some, offbeat, different stories, and something maybe a little bit more adult if you want to with Epic Comics, or even with Marvel Fanfare, or you could come over and do something a little bit different here. It was off the beaten trail.
Right.
So this is pretty much in the same vein as those type of lines, if you will. Vertigo. It's not that big. It's not that different. So the whole idea is, okay, we could get someone like Frank Miller to come and do a Superman story, which is supposed to be coming down the pike. So if you think this is something, we can only imagine what Frank Miller would do with Superman. He's supposed to be doing Superman, like Superman Earth 1 or Year 1 or whatever the hell he's supposed to be doing.
With John Romita Jr.
Yeah,
the
so
team
that's
is
what-
back together.
That's supposed to be coming down the pike. So the whole idea is, okay, we're going to give these guys a format where they can be creatively free to work with these characters as they see fit, blah, blah, blah. So this guy is now, okay, he's decided to free Willy. But to be creatively free, okay, with Batman.
I
and
don't
Batman
know if
Bam.
he came up with all these puns on the car, but in the train or the car over. But I'm liking it. I'm liking the.
I'm not liking it at
liking the
all. I'm not
naturalness
liking
to where he's coming. Everyone,
I'm not
this
liking
is
it.
this is like off the cuff. I don't know if it's all improv or he did at least pace it out, but it's working out.
We need to just focus on the story.
I just did. I gave you the overview, and there's a big someone major might be gone in the story, and it hints that I think is it Harley Quinn that's coming in the next issue.
Right.
So
And she's supposed to have her. She's supposed to have her turn at
Stark nakedness.
exposure.
with Bermejo doing it. Wow. It's one of the things
He needs
that
to be pulled from Superman.
Well, he's not doing Superman.
He's doing Batman.
He needs to be pulled.
Well, that said, I think since DC has been doing some alternate, like not really alternate universe, but saying like the way the DK3, they've been doing a special Batman project, like all while the regular Batman titles are going on in a special Superman project. So this Black Label stuff, and obviously it seems might be leaning towards being a little darker, might work because they always every year they have a couple of side Batman, Superman stories that go on. So I think this will work pretty well for DC. So it's 3-part series. I guess we're saying go out and buy it. Mario's saying don't look at it because he didn't like one scene where Batman
If you
strips.
got
I
this
did
book-
not say that. It was a trip. I didn't get the
Gorgeous
story.
art.
If you
Yes,
watch,
the art is gorgeous.
if you tune into Comic Book Hero, and this was one of the books that was highlighted in Comic Book Hero, hopefully you went out and you got it first day, because now I'm going to the store to see it. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll pick up a couple of more copies, because it is, right now, like, sales on this thing is spiked. It's going for $30, $40 a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
When this book came out, it was $5.99,
Yeah.
$6.99.
$6.99.
$6.99.
But you're saying you
That
bought
was
it.
this week.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to Midtown, okay, it was $6.99 at Midtown on day one. Today, if you go to Midtown, they've got copies, $20 each.
I saw it $6.99. That's on Wednesday. It was
Not
a
today.
Thursday.
Not
But
today.
that's I mean.
No, but then the
that's
comic
terrible.
companies and then the comic retailers are gouging you. Then if that's the
Yes.
case, that's not fair. If it,
That's
if it,
what-
just,
that's
and they-
the
it
it
demand.
just came out.
But then
That's
they're
the
also
demand.
waiting if there's a second printing where they darken the whole thing. Because do you have
That's what
it?
guys,
Can
and
you
that's
see?
that's one of the reasons why guys are willing to pay, and the guys. It's not like me. Well, I'm getting a copy of each cover, and I'm going to put it away in my collection. You got guys who are over there like, oh my goodness, Batman's over here showing if he's a shower or a grower. I'm going to come over here, pull these, and then they hoard them. And then the hope is that they will print a second printing.
Yeah.
And in that second printing, there will be no silhouette. Okay? There will be no silhouette. No sign that Batman ever went to the mall. And there we go. And then the ones that they have will appreciate in value.
But the other part is that it could be just like the redo of All Star
okay.
Batman.
You need a hug.
Not from you.
But the redo of All Star Batman, where they tried to black out some of the curse words and it wasn't all the way blacked out, and there was a big buzz initially, and then they had books they couldn't get rid of. Like, we don't know that this, even if it's a number one.
Which book was that again?
It was like, what was it? The issue with Batgirl. Remember the issue with Batgirl where she grabs the guys in the groin and they blacked out the curse words?
No,
but
no,
it was-
the original one still sells well.
it still does?
Yeah, it still
That's
does.
Insane.
Well, here's what happens on most books.
Ah.
Here's what happens with most books like
I
that. You
give
do
up.
something inappropriate in a book, you use inappropriate language, or there's something that's shown in there. Okay, and if it's enough of a thing, they're like, okay, we gotta do a different copy. This is if it makes like the major papers, then they usually say, okay, we need to do a new printing. So they do the new printing on the whole thing. Then it dies down. But then you give it like a year or so later, a lot of people still like it becomes this collector's book because a lot of guys didn't get it. Okay, and then the print run on that first print run became the smaller print run. The larger print run is the corrected one. So that happens a lot of times. But there's two versions of that book too. There's one with an alternate cover by Frank Quitely with that same era. That is the biggest one. That sells for more.
See, that's the other problem is like the way you've been saying that, all right, something happens. So say it's not even that. Say a book sells well, right? So they do a first printing. And then they do a second printing. And then they do a third printing. And then like the third or fourth printing is the one with the lower print that no one can have, and that sells. Or the X-Men #1 is 8 million. The relaunch of it, which is much lower, maybe 100,000 copies.
That's the
and
name
that
of the game.
one is like,
it's
it's we
rarity.
have an X-Men #1 that sells worth more than anything.
Well, it's
Like,
rarity
get
and
outta here.
collectability.
Well, look at Wolverine. You had what? #1 came out with 5 or 6
Return of
different-
Wolverine?
It just came out with 4 or 5 different covers right now.
4 or 5, I wish. 4 or 5.
It's ridiculous. It's the same image, but he's dressed.
There's the covers that came
With the
out from
suit on.
Marvel, and then you got the covers that will, the exclusive covers that come out from like these comic houses. So it'll be someplace like Scorpion based out in the UK, and they've got their own cover. After a while, it's like 30, 40 covers. It's madness.
Wow.
And out of all of those, and see, if you're a big collector, like me with Superman, you might say, okay, I'm going to take my time, and I'll get each one. But for most of those, that's just speculation at the end of the day. Which one of these is going to be like the hot cover or something of that nature? So they get these guys to come in, buy all of them. Most of the time, most of them are worthless, or not worthless, but they don't necessarily appreciate the way these guys would want. And I can usually always tell you which one is going to be the hot cover. The one that's going to be the one that's going to be the most value is the most expensive one, because that was the one that was the highest amount. They made the fewest print. It's the lowest print run. That's usually what happens. And then you got to be patient enough to wait, because the day they sell it is like, okay, how much is this one? The one by Jim Lee. Yeah, the 1 in 1,000. How much is that? That'll be $500. Oh my God, how much? You got to wait it
Well,
out. Just get it at a decent price.
The fact that Jim Lee is still in this sort of speculative game, it just really bothersome, because it works in his favor, but then for the books to still play along with this stuff, it's just like we can't get out of it. When he was the one, even though he didn't say it publicly, he was like, we can't keep going on to Mark Silvestri. And was it Byrne was saying, we can't keep going. Like, oh, shut up, jerk. You don't know anything. And as Mark Silvestri like, and Jim Lee like, he's right, let's write it out. And then you see Todd McFarlane was like, yeah, I got to do these toys. I can't do this one. And Rob Liefeld's like, yeah, I got to get into movies. It's like all these guys that sort of building comics up are basically trying to, the image was an exit strategy. I've gone off, let's cut this. Go out there and buy that Batman book. Don't go out for the nudity. Who cares? Just go out. Bermejo, he's a great artist.
Azzarello's the writer.
And the story,
Azzarello's got a ton of
it's
stuff
not
that
a
he's
bad-
done. He's been
not a
pretty
bad
good.
story. Not a bad story. It's definitely within Batman's mode. That whole thing where, literally, I liked it where he's in the ambulance. They're trying to, we're trying to save you. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
No.
like about to
You
cut
can't-
his
you
Okay,
can't-
hair.
I'll
know my
knock
identity.
each. If it
Not
means
my
keeping my
identity.
secret identity, I'll knock each and one of you guys. I'll show you how much help I need. You'll need an ambulance.
I don't
when
know
I'm
that
done.
he do it, but it's just fun. It's just fun to see him go at it and just jump out, and then it had an element of mystery, and then the big reveal, which is in there. It's hard to really think that they're going to go that route, but then when you see Harlequin at the end, or at least the cover to the next issue, like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if we're going to have some hijinks. and some-
Constantine?
I can tell you what's going to happen.
Okay, here we go. So, Mario,
Spinner rack. Don't get it out.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Spinnerack.
Spinnerack.
You saved me money.